You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. You know, every time President Trump posts something on social media or speaks, you know why he's the greatest and just brilliant, and he's just amazing. And he always outsmarts these people. So, I don't know, it seems like it was like a month ago now, but I guess it was a week or so ago. When did Nikki Haley announce? A week ago?
Like a week, last week sometime.
It seems like a longer than that. And she took a jab at President Trump, saying that anyone running for office over the age of 75 should have to take a mental competency exam. So President Trump actually responded to this, and this is what President Trump said. Anybody running for office of President of the United States should agree to take a full and complete mental competency test simultaneously or before with the announcement that he or she is running. And likewise, but to a somewhat lesser extent, agree to a test which would prove that you are physically capable of doing the job. He posted this on True Social. And notice President Trump left out the age. He said anybody.
I agree with that. I mean, like I said, look at Fetterman. He's what, 45, 50? And, you know, it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with your health. I mean, you could be 90 years old. I mean, look at Mel Brooks. The guy's 100, and he could probably still put out an amazing movie. Or Norman Lear. The guy's like, I saw him on a show last year. He's like 99 years old. He's like, he's 50. You know what I mean?
And, you know,
then you got Fetterman, who can't even put a sentence together.
And, you know, a lot of these people are mentally ill.
That's for sure.
Mayor Pete, for example, is psychotic. Gretchen Whitmer is psychotic. Some of these, and I'm not joking, you can see it in their faces. Some of these people are insane. I'll tell you who else is crazy is Newsom. These people are not.
Oh, he's definitely
all together.
Lost it.
They're
John Kerry. Of course, he's probably over. He's probably over 80 by now.
Yeah, but he's not running for anything. But you can see it in their eyes and their faces. They're crazy people. And you know this thing about, and I thought that's pretty sharp of President Trump. He's going to do both. And President Trump, you know, when playing golf, I haven't played golf too much. I have here and there. When I was a little younger, I played golf. I went with my stepfather was big in the golfing and. Kathy's dad was big in the golf. I could never get into golfing.
My dad still plays golf.
Yeah, I could never get into golfing. It just it's I don't have the patience. It's an all day affair, you know, and I just can't. I can't do it.
It's amazing that Trump likes to play it so much, but I think for him it's more about networking.
Well, it's a generational thing
because it's an all day thing, and. Of course, maybe now he has. I don't know what he does with his company, but I would think that playing golf so much
that's where they make
takes up so much time. But he probably does all the deals.
But you know, the thing about golfing is it is a workout to be out there on the golf course. It really is
a lot.
You walk a lot. You're swing. So Trump is, and plus you're getting all that vitamin D from the sun. Trump is in great physical condition because. He's athletic. Golf, believe it or not, I know a lot of people don't realize this, is very athletic. And I remember I went golfing once with my stepfather and my uncle and some of their friends, and I got it in my head I was going to walk the course. And it was fine for a while. But by the time I got halfway through, I could hardly swing. I was so exhausted.
In Florida, too.
As opposed to taking the golf cart.
Yeah, which is a lot hotter.
And Trump is out there in that Florida sun and the Florida humidity. And we have high humidity. Our air is thicker. We adapt down here. We're like another species of human. When I lived up north in Ohio and I would come to Florida during the summer, I would get off the plane and I couldn't breathe. The air felt so heavy. Maybe some of you experience, but when you live here, you don't experience it. So we have better lungs, is what I'm saying, than a lot of you guys. So Trump is in great mental and physical condition. And Nikki Haley, on the other hand, you know, Nikki Haley, she's in the news constantly because people are attacking her because she's, you know, on MSNBC yesterday, they were calling her a white supremacist, even though she's not white and all this stuff.
They're insane over there. They're insane.
Yeah. So then Nikki Haley's on Fox today responding. Nikki Haley doesn't seem to stand for anything. She just keeps doing interviews talking about how she is Indian.
She loves these attacks. She loves these attacks because they play right into that I'm a victim mentality. And you're right. I have yet to see her speak about any accomplishments. I don't know anything about what she did or what she plans on doing. It's all about, I'm a daughter of immigrants. Well, so am I. Most of us are. And, this and that. And I'm a woman and I'm the first woman this and first woman. That sounds like what liberals say.
It was like the 70s.
You know what I mean? And that makes you wonder if she really is how conservative, because that's how liberals talk. But I don't know how I feel about Trump doing this test. I think it's more about getting publicity than anything. He's not being talked about in the news as much as he used to be. I'm not saying this in a bad way. And Trump knows how to get talked about. And I think him responding to her is getting him some press. Yeah. And I think his strategy, and we mentioned this, since the news is not covering him as much as they did, I think his strategy is going to be to kind of piggyback off these candidates and react to them to get talked about, to get, you know what I'm saying? Which is not a bad strategy, because that might be the only way the news talks about him, is him reacting to DeSantis or Haley or Pence or whoever else is running against him.
Then he went on, he says, being an outstanding president, this is Trump, being an outstanding president requires great mental acuity and physical stamina. If you don't have these qualities or traits, it is likely you won't succeed. Trump's proposal comes days after White House physician Colonel Kevin O'Connor declared Biden a healthy and vigorous 80-year-old who was fit for office following his annual physical on Thursday. The exam did not include a cognitive test, which President Trump took when he was in his first term, despite calls by Republicans to take it. The exam revealed Biden had a lesion on his chest and has been sent in for a cancer screening. You know, this thing about Biden, he can't even walk. I've had people tell me this that are in the healthcare profession. I'm not a doctor. I don't know these, but people have told me that if you watch Biden walk, he walks in a very odd way. And some people have told me that's an Alzheimer's gait, that, he
walks very weird.
The brain has a hard time communicating with the legs, and that's why he walks in such a strange way. And then after he has this exam, and everyone knows he's out of it. Like I saw him taking this photograph with the Polish president. I don't even think he knew who he was or where he was. He knew there was a camera and he had the smile for the picture. Everyone knows Biden's out of it, mentally and physically. Mm-hmm. So this story comes out that he's just in the best physical condition of ever, which is just absurd.
Well, that's why I don't put much stock in these tests, because the doctors are always going to say that they're fine.
The doctor line. So then what does Biden do?
What they do.
He does this thing. He's out on the White House lawn going towards the helicopter, and then he takes a couple steps where it looks like he's running.
Yeah, that's his thing. He likes to run.
I'm so fit I can run. And he's not even running. He's walking swiftly, but he gets in a stance like you are running, even though he's not running.
Yeah,
he's like fake running. And everything about what they do with Biden is just fake, and it's a lie. Nothing is truth. Like this thing.
Well, everything about liberals is staged. Look at this. A lie.
Yeah, like this thing with the fake air raid siren.
Yeah, exactly.
And listen to this. There's an article. Let me pull this up. I wasn't going to get into this, but I want to get into it. There's an article in Mediaite about this. Let me pull this up. This was, I couldn't believe, and I was the first person, by the way, to call it what it was. The air raid siren was fake. Mm-hmm. And it's not just me saying it. And I was the first one to call that out. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, give me a break. The President of the United States, air raid siren.
How perfectly timed.
Yeah. So Mediaite, which is very liberal, listen to this. This is their headline. The risk was real. Fox hosts ignore their own reporters to falsely suggest the Biden air raid sirens were fake. Fox News host, and this is liberal Mediaite, Fox News host and contributors baselessly suggested air raid sirens during Biden's trip to Ukraine were staged, ignoring Fox News reporters who said the opposite. President Biden made a surprise visit to Ukraine Monday to mark the anniversary of the war, a trip that included a dramatic moment when air raid sirens sounded as Biden and Zelensky walked the streets of Kiev. Okay. See, this is how liberals operate, okay? Yeah. The air raid sirens were not fake, okay? Those were real air raid sirens. but there was no air raid. Okay,
Right.
and we know this for a number of reasons. Number one, if there was an air raid, the Secret Service would have grabbed Biden, drove him to whatever plane he flew in on, and got him out of the country. Two, it was reported in multiple sources today, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, that Russia was told before the trip that he was going to go to Kiev, okay? So they told him before he went, they told the Russians. So if Russia launched an air raid on Kiev, knowing Biden was there, that's an act of war against the United States.
Right.
That means they're targeting our president.
Right.
You know, so the air raid sirens were real air raid sirens, but there was no air raid. They turned the sirens on to make it look like Biden who's so fit and in great physical and mental condition, was taking a risk going into an active war zone that when there wasn't one.
Well, and also Zelensky they're giving him a lot more money, and they have to justify that. So they play the air raid siren.
Yeah.
So perfectly timed, so you hear it on television at that exact moment. So people at home will be like, "Oh my gosh, there really is something bad going on here. We send them more money."
So
I mean, it's totally, that was planned.
And this is CNN talking about this.
Yeah.
Listen.
I've been here for the past 5 days. I have not heard any explosions. I have not heard any air sirens until about half an hour ago, right when President Biden was in the center of Kyiv, as Clarissa was just mentioning.
Okay, that's the CNN reporter. Now, the CNN reporter was a little vague there. He says he's not heard any sirens or explosions. He was implying that see what was missing with the fake air raid. Okay, the air raid sirens were playing. There were no aircraft, there were no missiles, and there were no explosions.
Right.
They just turned on the air raid sirens to create this illusion.
He's basically saying
danger.
that without he doesn't want to go that far as to accuse them.
Because he's CNN.
But he's basically, he qualified it by like, I've been here 5 days, I haven't heard anything, I haven't seen anything until. So he's basically saying this is all BS.
Yeah, but he can only go so far because he's CNN, and they'll take him off the air faster than Don Lemon. But this, it's really, I wonder what they're thinking, okay? Because
they're thinking we're stupid. That's what they're thinking.
in this modern era of communication and internet and everything, nothing can be a secret. You know, when I see the way they're operating and how they're lying to us, like with this air raid, I question everything in the news and in the history throughout all of time. Because now they're doing it when we have the ability to not only fact check it, but to put the information out for millions of people in America have heard the story today and yesterday, because I was doing this yesterday on the radio, that the air raid was fake, that there was no air raid, that it was fake.
You should question everything, like on the X-Files.
And they're still on MSNBC acting like he went into this danger zone.
Yeah.
And it
wag the dog.
So I don't know exactly, Biden, the people that are running the Democrat Party are old, okay? They're not some young Generation X and Generation Z hipsters. Those are the workers on the staff, but the people running the party are old. And I think the people running the party, they're like in their 70s and 80s. The younger ones are in their 60s. They still think it's the 80s and 90s, and I don't think they realize these things can be checked. And
yeah, they're up to their old tricks.
Ukraine has been a part of this Russia for a long time. It was one of the Soviet republics and everything else. So their culture is the same. And you get in that part of the world, and it's all about propaganda. And Zelensky's an actor who puts on a stage show. He wears this ridiculous costume. He wears combat fatigues all the time. His fatigues are not dirty. He's not in combat. He's not in a foxhole. But he puts on this illusion by the way he dresses that he doesn't shave, that he's in a combat zone, and it's
he's playing a part.
That's right, and the sirens are just a part of the play.
Yeah, he's setting the stage. He's an actor, and he knows about scenery and adding sound effects, things like that.
That's
like
correct.
It's a movie. And I think you're right. I think this has been going on for decades, ever since TV, even during the times of radio. I think there was, manipulation. Look what happened with Orson Welles.
Yeah, War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds, where people actually believed aliens were invading
I don't know
the Earth.
how true that is.
No, they did. They really.
I know they say that. You think so?
No, yes, I do. And people actually did believe it. There was a lot of talk. There was a lot of science fiction books and talk of stuff like that at the time. And, it was so convincing. There were not everybody, but there were people that actually did believe that happened. It's scary how easily people are manipulated, but you're right. In today's day and age, I think people are more savvy. Like what you said, could people actually believe that? People were not as sophisticated when it comes to these things as they are today. I think people are more sophisticated in that regard, and more jaded, and they understand how the media works now. Back then, that was new, and they didn't understand they were being lied to.
This thing with the fake air raid. Okay, here, I played on the radio this morning. I'm not going to play it now, but MSNBC on Joy Reid last night, they brought on a presidential historian who was comparing Biden to Lincoln and Madison in the War of 1812, who was on the front lines of combat.
Give me a break.
With this fake thing that's going on. And I know, isn't it crazy?
That's laughable.
Isn't it crazy? And when
do you think she really believes that?
Yeah,
he's as brave as Washington?
They're mentally ill. And this is the thing about it. Okay, and Mediaite, that article I just read, they're promoting it too. Liberals are so ready to go into propaganda. Let me tell you something. If there was a real air raid, I would be like, what is Russia doing here? I don't like Biden, but he's the president of the United States. They're going to run an air raid over Kiev while we have the president of the United States there. What are they doing? They're crazy. And when you watch these liberals,
they have to justify the money.
I think the liberals know they're lying. Yeah. Okay, I think they're, when I say they're mentally ill, I don't mean that they're delusional, that they think there was an air raid. I think that they are so mentally ill, they think lying is okay. And they would be like I would be. If they really thought there was an air raid, they would be screaming at Russia, how dare Russia do this? They knew he was there. It was all over television. They were told in advance, how could they do an air raid while the president of the United States is there? But they don't have that anger, so they know they're lying is what I'm saying.
People have to understand, the news, they have to view the news differently. The news is not, as factual as they want you to think. It's like a reality show. And we watch the local news here sometimes, and I didn't realize when I was younger, but now I realize it. When you watch the local news, they do a lot of stories on local businesses and things like that. And I realize that those businesses are paying for that. It's an advertisement. They'll do a whole story on like a local restaurant that is having trouble hiring people or something. And then the way they talk and the way they do the story, it sounds like a commercial. And I'm thinking, are they paying? And you said, yeah, they pay to be covered. Nothing on the news is real or organic. It's all manipulated in some way, shape, or form. There's some agenda being pushed, and it is reality TV. That's why these people, like when Don Lemon had his cameraman pretending to be chased by a mob and he got busted, because to them, that what's more important than the lie is the story they give you. And they might say, well, we need people to see how important this is, so we'll have you pretend, or we'll fake a protest. Like, remember they had caught CNN staging a protest on camera? Because they want you to see how important something is, and they have an agenda. So in their mind, it's okay to stage things because the end justifies the means.
Correct.
So they don't see it as lying. They see it as they're doing you a public service. That's how they see it. Well, yeah, but they don't see it like I'm lying to the public. They see it like, well, the people need to know, but since it's not happening, like the air raid, since there's no bombs and there's no danger, but we need them to know it's dangerous because we're giving them $500 billion today, and we need to justify another paycheck. So let's just show them what it's really like here, even though it's really not. You know what I mean? I mean, it is kind of akin to a mental problem, a mental illness issue, because they're all pathological liars.
No,
all
that's
of
true.
them.
No, that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. And you can tell by their lack of outrage towards Russia for launching an air raid with the President of the United States there that they know they're lying.
Yep.
But the mental illness relies is in the fact that they think it's okay.
Exactly.
You know,
they think it's justifiable.
Because
they really do.
Because they're
I don't know how they rationalize
because
that,
they're so right.
Well, yeah,
they think they're
arrogant.
so right.
Like John Kerry. Well, he's totally gone. Climate change is a religion to this guy. But when you hear him talk, he's just pushing the climate agenda, that's all he cares about. I don't know why that's his thing, but that's his thing. And, you know, he will just say things and speak, you know, in exaggerations and stuff like this and tell you things that aren't really happening because in his mind, it's for the greater good. And he thinks he's a superhero. He thinks he's saving the planet, even though what he's saying is not true or based on fact. It's still in his mind getting to where we need to be. And so he'll do whatever he has to do to make that happen because he knows better.
I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out in each and every podcast episode. And also, you top Patreon supporters, I don't know if you're all aware of this or not, but top Patreon supporters, not only do you get the live on-air shout out, but the names of all of our top Patreon supporters are listed in the description of the podcast episodes, as well as all of my YouTube videos. So when I'm live streaming on YouTube in the morning, if you look in the description, the top Patreon supporters, your names are listed, first names only, of course. Your first names are listed in the description of my YouTube videos in the morning as well. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Paulette, Carlos, and Maria. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description and a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com, to our Patreon page. You click that link, and it'll walk you through how to become a Patreon supporter. All right, we'll take a quick break and be right back.
Are you tired of looking at boring drab walls in your home? Breathe life into any room with gorgeous wall art from Mr. Wash Mini Gallery on Etsy. Mr. Wash Mini Gallery is stocked with a wide variety of contemporary, stylish, and unique wall art. All designs are high quality, available for instant download and print ready, giving you the freedom and flexibility to elevate any space in your home with ease. These unique pieces make fantastic gifts for friends, loved ones, even yourself. Printable wall art is an easy and affordable way to personalize your amazing home with unique art. Mr. Wash Mini Gallery. Beautiful, printable wall art for your space. Go to MrWashMiniGallery.Etsy.com. That's MrWashMiniGallery.Etsy.com. Are you looking for a unique and profitable business opportunity? Have you thought about an ignition interlock device business? To give offenders a second chance, courts are often willing to allow convicted DUI drivers to install interlock devices so they can continue to drive their vehicles. These devices work by having the driver perform a breathalyzer test in order to start their car. More and more judges are offering these devices, and you can learn everything you need to know in the book, How to Start an Interlock Business, available online at theinterlockbook.com. This downloadable ebook has tons of useful information that you won't find anywhere else. In this must-read book, you'll learn how to find ignition interlock partners, how to pick the right business model, understand the different types of services, learn to analyze potential service center locations, discover how to streamline business operations, how to apply for the right business license, how to stay in compliance, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Don't blow and drive. Read and buy the book, How to Start an Interlock Business, online at theinterlockbook.com. That's theinterlockbook.com. Are you looking for inspiration? Are you ready to move from being tired to being inspired? Work can be stressful and a burden, but it doesn't have to be. Now is the time to take the first step to improve your well-being and your quality of life. You can regain your enthusiasm and enjoy what you do with the book, Burnout Recovery Guide for Female Entrepreneurs, from author Cassia Richter. In this must-read and life-changing book, you will find that perfect balance so everything can fall into place for you. All the strategies and tools you need are found in this information informative, and useful book, burnout slowly creeps to the surface and can easily steal your joy without you even noticing it. By learning to watch out for the signs and find solutions before it's too late, you can avoid its detrimental effects. If you want to have it all, a thriving career, pristine mental health, and a happy family life, then buy this book today. Burnout Recovery Guide for Female Entrepreneurs from author Cassia Richter is available on Amazon and at wellbeingstrategist.com. From author Anton Hines comes a self-help book filled with prayer, meditation, and spiritual techniques. A guide of spiritual and religious practices by Anton Hines, available on Amazon. Are you driven to have more money and to increase your status? You're not alone, but that is not what you need. In this must-read and life-changing book, you will find what you truly need is much deeper than those material things. When you read a guide of spiritual and religious practices by Anton Hines, you will discover meditative practices and prayers to use in your everyday life, as well as spiritual practice and instructions that will catch you by surprise and will change your life. Author Anton Hines has had many spiritual experiences throughout their life and has shared their experiences in this book. Take that first step to experiencing your own transformative experiences and order your copy of A Guide of Spiritual and Religious Practices by Anton Hines on Amazon right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. I was just reading Kim Guilfoyle is launching her own show on Rumble. It says the twice weekly show launching March 2nd will be called the Kimberly Guilfoyle Show and will be released exclusively on Rumble. And, I'll check it out. Here's the thing, guys, because I know a lot of people tell me I should be on Rumble. And I am on Rumble, but nobody really watches my videos on Rumble. I get a lot of views and everything on all my other platforms and everything. That's why I'm not on Rumble. But this is the problem with a lot of conservatives going to Rumble, like Kim Guilfoyle. Okay,
yeah.
Because I love Kim Guilfoyle. She's very good. I miss her on the 5. And
why not on YouTube?
And that's the thing. The thing about Rumble is you're speaking to the choir, as Christians, you're supposed to go out into the world, not just stay in church and talk because you're just preaching to the choir. That's what that means. And her message, Kim Guilfoyle's message, is not going to get out there on Rumble. She needs to be on other platforms like YouTube or do a podcast that's on the podcast platforms or something.
I wonder if Rumble's paying her. Well, to do it because it doesn't have nearly the audience YouTube has.
This is the thing I worry about with Rumble, okay? And I'm serious about this. A lot of big conservatives have gotten themselves, sometimes on purpose, knocked off of all the other platforms and then gone to Rumble. And these big famous people get deals with Rumble.
Yeah.
And they make sure they get a lot of views and everything, and that's great. That's awesome. But they've gotten themselves, many of them have done it on purpose. I'm not going to mention names, but I've talked about some of them as it's happened.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one do this in a long time, but there was a trend with some of the well-known conservatives to get banned off of different platforms and then go to Rumble where I could speak freely.
Yeah.
And this is my thing and fear about this. Elon Musk just bought Twitter. Who would have thought that would have been possible? One man bought Twitter. Someone could come in and buy Rumble. I know we won't sell. Somebody could come in and buy. Look what happened to James O'Keefe getting tossed out of Veritas.
That was nuts.
All these conservatives have left all these platforms. They've gone to Rumble, where it's just an echo chamber of not. Trump, when he came down the escalator, won because he was reaching people that not only agreed with him but disagreed with him, and then learned to agree that he was right and started agreeing with him. So someone could come
he converted people.
Someone could come along, like Elon Musk with Twitter, or whoever knocked James O'Keefe out of Project Veritas, and buy Rumble, and all these conservatives are done, and they've burned every bridge on every other platform there is. And I just think a lot of them have made really big mistakes getting themselves banned from other platforms to go to Rumble. It just seems
I think
risky.
I agree. Well, we'll see how many views she gets. I don't ever watch Rumble, but Megyn Kelly's on YouTube, and she's doing pretty well. Speaking of shows, I have news. MSNBC sets Jen Psaki weekly series.
Oh, I saw this, yeah.
It says here, former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki's first MSNBC program is set. Psaki will host a weekly series for the cable channel called Inside with Jen Psaki. How original. Beginning March 19th. Oh, that's our daughter's birthday. The show will run at noon on Sundays and will stream on, it's going to be on Peacock the following day. So she has a Sunday show at noon.
It's going to be on MSNBC.
MSNBC. Yeah. Inside, we'll see Psaki breaking down the big public, blah, blah, blah. Psaki is developing an original streaming series and social series. Wow, they gave her a big contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's going to have a weekly show on Sundays at noon, which is when all the big political shows are.
Sunday's the big
Sunday
day.
morning.
Well, the Sunday shows kind of set the stage for what the news narrative is going to be on Monday.
Who's on Sundays on MSNBC before her? Do you know?
I don't know right before, but they had, they got Meet the Press that's on, and those kind of shows. And
is that on MSNBC? That's on NBC.
It's on NBC, but I think they rerun it on MSNBC later in the day.
So that's a pretty sweet gig. Well,
Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream's a pretty big show.
Oh yeah, what time is that? I don't even watch that.
I don't watch
11?
those shows.
So,
I don't watch that.
We'll have to start watching it because I like Shannon Bream.
Yeah.
She took over Chris Wallace's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's a pretty sweet gig if you're on MSNBC to have the Sunday show. It's not in the morning, but still at noon, because that's the political day where all the big named people have a big political show. It's a status thing. It's not just a show on Wednesdays at noon. You're on Sunday with all the other ones. So they gave her a pretty good gig here.
The thing about Jen Psaki
worked out well for her.
Jen Psaki, her first and last name are two different types of liquor, and Psaki and Jen, and I don't know if that's cultural appropriation from the Japanese. I don't know, but it sounds like the name of a stripper to me, not like a credible person. But the problem Jen Psaki has is to be a liberal Democrat right now it's one of the worst times to defend what they're doing because everything they're doing is wrong. I mean, look at what happened just in the last 24, 48 hours, right? Mm-hmm. Biden goes over to Ukraine to give them another $500 billion, $500 billion.
Yep.
What's going on in Ohio with this train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, is insane. I saw the mayor and some other officials were drinking the water. Are they out of their mind? I saw a woman.
Why?
They wanted to show that the water's safe to drink. Let me tell you, I was thinking about this yesterday. If our community had happened to it, what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, we'd have to sell our house and move. And I know it's hard to sell your house right now, and you'd probably lose money and
good luck
and everything else. But I saw a woman I've been watching some of the local news out of Ohio, and you get some interesting coverage. And there was a local news story that I saw. This woman, she doesn't live in East Palestine. She lives just over the border in Pennsylvania, and that area is affected by the chemicals too.
You'd have to move, otherwise you'd just be sick. Your kids would be sick. Your grandkids, it'd just be endless.
And she went home with her boyfriend to get her stuff, and she took a shower and immediately broke out in rash all over her body. Same thing happened to her boyfriend. He took a shower. I don't know if they took the shower together or separately. I don't know, but they both took showers, and just being touched by the water caused them and they're in Pennsylvania. They caused them to break out in a rash. And I saw the mayor drink the water, and that's crazy. That town is done. It needs to be shut down and evacuated. And that's just the way of it. But
it needs to be condemned, like a building.
But here, Trump's going there tomorrow. We don't know what he's going to do there, but he's going to go there tomorrow. And here you have Biden, who goes to Ukraine with this fake air raid and gives them $500 million. And here we have Americans in Ohio who have been poisoned from this derailment. And I don't even know if Biden's mentioned it.
It's sickening. It's sickening. And I think this thing is going to destroy any chance of any liberal winning Ohio ever again in the presidential election. I think this will leave such a stain on the Democratic Party, the way he's handled this.
Oh, yeah.
That I think they will never win Ohio for years and years to come. That's what I'm predicting because of this event. It is so catastrophic. And for him to go to the Ukraine and give them all this money when you have, like you said, Americans, they need to be relocated and they need to be given jobs. And like you said, it's like out of Aaron Brockovich. This town is contaminated now and it has permeated everything, the water, the soil, everything. It'll take decades for this area to come back to safe levels, I believe. And for them to drink water, that's nuts. Pete Buttigieg is finally going to go there, probably because Trump decided to go. But I think Buttigieg and Biden are avoiding it because they're afraid of getting contaminated. They don't want to be exposed to that. But I feel so bad for the people living there. And I wish there was something we could do. I don't know if there's people accepting donations, but we can look into that. But it's a horrible thing. And if something like, we get hurricanes here, which are catastrophic. But you can rebuild in your area, and even if your house is totally destroyed, you have insurance, your property is still worth money because you live in Florida near the beach, pretty much. All the areas in Florida that are developed are pretty much near the coast. But the difference between a hurricane is it doesn't contaminate the area for years. It actually cleans it out. You can rebuild quickly and resume your life. This is an area where the chemicals have permeated everything. And like I said, this is not fixable right now. No. And for people to stay, they're crazy. Maybe they don't have a choice, but they need to find a way to leave and move on. And if it happened here, we don't live near the train tracks, but they're about 6-7 miles away. But say we did live close and it contaminated the water and we were breaking out, I mean, you'd have to, I guess, take a loss on your house and come up with another thing you can do. I mean, it's horrible.
We're going to find out.
The government's not going to help.
We're going to find out in years from now that people are dying and have died and have all kinds of problems because there's,
That's true.
I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, and I know I say that a lot because I bring up things, and I don't want people to think I'm a conspiracy theory, but I think there's another reason why they haven't gone there, Biden, Buttigieg, all this stuff. I think it's very possible this was leftist eco-terrorism.
Really?
These liberal eco-terrorists have attacked trains all over this country.
Do they know why it derailed?
No, and there were reports that the train was on fire for miles before the derailment. And I think that there's a cover-up going on what really caused this accident. And the eco-terrorists are always leftists, so they don't be surprised. They don't want to look. They don't want people looking into that because their constituents are the eco-terrorists, if that's what it was. So even if it's not that, they suspect it may be.
Yeah.
So they just want it to go away. But when you look at what goes on in this country today, a lot of problems going on in this country. The people that are running our government right now don't do anything. They just let things work themselves out. I wanted to play this clip. It's Buttigieg, and it's Buttigieg talking about East Palestine. Let me pull this up, and it tells you this guy is so out of touch with reality.
Why do they say Palestine and not Palestine?
That's how they say it.
And why was it called that? I wonder who named it that.
That's how they say it. I don't know.
You're from Ohio. You don't know these things?
It's a big state. I never heard of it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Here's Mayor Pete. Listen.
Your message to people who are concerned that the department was late to speak out on this issue. They're saying that transportation and EPA was late to the game and speaking out and responding to the situation in East Palestine.
Well, to be clear, our department was on the ground within hours, helping with the response and the investigation. Again, I respect the separate role of NTSB, but we have been on the ground literally from day one to make sure that we're doing our part to support. I do think that it's important to speak out about that, and I could have spoken out sooner, and I'm making sure that we are focused on the actions that are going to make a difference.
Okay, so what Mayor Pete said at the end is so typical of Mayor Pete. I should have spoken out sooner. and we're going to speak out in the future. He's a do-nothing. All he does is talk about things. He never does anything.
Speaking out does nothing.
But Mayor Pete is so out of touch with himself and with reality, he thinks talking is doing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Guy's never done anything in his life.
No.
He just talks.
Because all that matters is what comes across television, is what people find out about. And if he's on TV talking like he's doing something, that's all that matters. But people aren't there reporting. Have you seen reporters there on the national news? Maybe
not much.
Not much.
No, not much. If it was
a little bit here and there.
If it was in Florida, they would be there because they'd want to bash DeSantis with it. But Mayor Pete, if he had,
I don't like him at all.
No, he's a terrible person. Mayor Pete thinks he's going to be president one day. Okay, emphasis on he thinks.
Yeah, he's deluded.
With that kind of mindset, you would think it would be your natural response to go there and act like you're involved and take care of it and act like you're getting something done, even if it's just a photo op. And he just doesn't even. The idea of actually doing something is not even in his thought process. It doesn't even occur to him to do anything because he's never done anything and he's gotten elevated to all these positions.
Well, Brian, this is a guy who took an SUV and pulled a bicycle out of the back a block from the White House to pretend that he rode his bike to work. I mean, this guy's a fraud. Mm-hmm. So why would anybody think that he would actually go? He is an empty suit. He is absolutely an empty suit. And I know people that lived in his town that he was the mayor of, they hated his guts too, because he never did a damn thing. And he practically destroyed that town. And now he's got this position. I think he was given this job because it's a do-nothing job. I don't think he realized what an important job it is to be the transportation secretary. And I don't know what Elaine Chao did. Wasn't that her job? But you deal with a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's a very important position. Transportation and all the issues, and he's had to deal with a lot of things when he's in the last 2 years, but he hasn't done anything. Has anybody ever been happy with anything this guy has done? Has there ever been anybody saying, "Good job, you did it"? No.
Yeah. Now
he doesn't do a good job.
I want to take a moment to talk about the new MyPillow 2.0. The MyPillow 2.0 is amazing. The MyPillow is perfection, and Mike Lindell has improved on perfection. The patented fill inside the MyPillow, which is in the MyPillow 2.0 as well, what that patented fill does is it stops your head from tossing and turning at night. Every time your head tosses and turns, you wake up. You may not even be aware of it, but you wake up, you interrupt your sleep, and you basically have sleep apnea, and that patented fill stops your head from tossing and turning all night. The MyPillow 2.0 has this cooling technology in it, so your head and face never get warm, so you never have to flip the pillow. When your face get hot and you flip the pillow, you've woken up, you've interrupted your night's sleep, you're no longer in REM sleep, and it's like having sleep apnea all over again. This MyPillow 2.0, you will never flip the pillow over again. It's amazing. This morning, and I've been doing this a lot of mornings, I wake up in the morning on my MyPillow 2.0. Kathy and I each have one. They're buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at mypillow.com. I put my hand on the pillow, and it's cool to my hand.
I want to tell you, my mom was over yesterday. She was helping me make the bed, and she said, "Oh, let me see those new pillows you have." Mm-hmm. So I showed them to her, and she put her hand on it. She said, "It actually feels cool."
That's right.
And she said, "I got to order some of those, so maybe I'll get her a couple of those."
Yeah, yeah,
they're really nice.
So this buy one, get one free offer is not going to be around forever, okay? I'm telling you, the MyPillow 2.0 is selling at far greater numbers than they expected it to. So when they start to run low on inventory, they're going to have to end the BOGO offer, okay? And you want to go there, you want to take advantage of this now. So go to mypillow.com. Now, you can take advantage of all the specials at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout, not just the ones that I talk about and highlight. I talk about my favorites. I talk about what I consider to be the must-haves, and the MyPillow 2.0 is definitely a must-have. So when they run low on inventory, this BOGO offer is going to disappear. So go there and order your MyPillow 2.0 with the patented fill and cooling technology. Buy one, get one free. MyPillow.com, promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back with much more. Do not go anywhere.
When you give a gift, you want to give a gift that's special, memorable, as well as unique. And that's what you will find at Lavington Designs on Etsy. Lavington Designs is an embroidery shop stocked with monogrammed and personalized gifts that are perfect for everyone you're gift shopping for every occasion too. Birthdays, the first day of school, anniversaries, holidays, or just to give a gift because you want to let someone know you care. Lavington Designs have hundreds of items to choose from: monogrammed home decor, ladies' fashions, men's gifts, gifts for children of all ages, including babies, wedding gifts, sports bags, and that's just the beginning. And everything can be personalized just for you. Visit the shop right now, online at etsy.com/shop/Lavington Designs LLC. View the inventory and start shopping for that perfect gift. And they offer free shipping. Etsy.com/shop/Lavington Designs LLC. Etsy.com/shop/Lavington Designs LLC. Do you love cool gadgets and awesome TikToks? Then you need to check out Style of Desire on TikTok. They also have an online store, styleofdesire.com. Style of Desire carry items that are hot, trendy, and will make your life better. They have everything from electronics, home decor for the bathroom, bedroom, living room, the kitchen, skincare items, pet items, clothing, hair care, makeup and jewelry, items for men and women, oils, soaps, candles, sneakers, pet items, watches, sunglasses, and that's just the beginning. Enjoy free shipping on all orders over $50. That's right, free shipping, as well as 10% off your first order. Follow their TikTok at Style of Desire to see their latest and greatest products in action. That's Style of Desire on TikTok. They help families and children in Africa that count on them for food, clothing, schooling, medical needs, and more. So when you shop, you're helping those in need. Check out their online store right now, styleofdesire.com. That's styleofdesire.com. If you're into spirituality or manifesting with the law of attraction or the law of assumption, check out askyoursoul.org, where you will find a lot of unique digital manifestation-related products that will help you change your life and become the best version of yourself. Askyoursoul.org also offers beautiful customized jewelry and other great tools to help you on your spiritual journey. Go right now to askyoursoul.org. That's askyoursoul.org. Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story that's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. From author Robert Allen Miltenberg, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, and I'm always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Make sure, by the way, that if you're listening to us on YouTube, you subscribe to my YouTube channel. But whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, subscribe there too. It's always free to subscribe. And the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms. If there's a podcast platform, we're on it. Just search for the Brian Craig Show podcast. Now, I did talk about this briefly on the radio this morning, but I wanted to talk about this with you, Kathy, and I wanted to bring this up again because I got a lot of feedback about this. People thought I was joking. And I'm as serious as a heart attack with what I'm telling you guys about this. I got some DMs after the show, and people thought I was being funny. Okay,
you funny?
Raquel Avita Saraswati claimed to be Arab, South Asian,
saw this story.
South Asian, and Hispanic. She's been outed by her own mom, who said that my daughter is as white as the driven snow. The senior inclusion officer of a Philadelphia-based social justice group has been lying about her ethnic identity for years, claiming she's a woman of color despite being white as the driven snow, according to her mother.
Oh, boy.
She's 39. She is the Chief Equity, Inclusion, and Culture Officer of the American Friends Service Committee, which fights violence, inequality, and oppression. She's also a Muslim activist. Okay. And it goes on. She claims to be all kinds of things, okay? This is not the first time this has happened. This is about the third time that it's happened. There was a guy, I forgot his name now. Somebody will let me know in the comments. There was that Rachel Dozell who headed up that NAACP. She was white.
Don't forget Alec Baldwin's wife.
Alec Baldwin's, yeah.
She pretends to be Spanish.
Well, that's different. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But this is the third time one of these liberal activists and one of these liberal race groups has been telling people they're not white and they are white. The reason that this girl did this, she's a millennial. These are all millennials. If you're a millennial right out of college and you're white, good luck getting a job in these cities around the country. So what's happened, and this is what people thought I was joking. I am not joking about this. White people are passing as non-white people so they can get jobs.
Isn't it crazy?
It used to be the other way around.
It was. Yeah, there's a book actually called Passing. And there's a movie with Lana Turner.
That's right.
With, it's a great movie where her housekeeper is black and her daughter is biracial. And she
I know the movie. I can't remember. We've seen that movie.
Proof of life or something. And the daughter keeps trying to pass as white, and the mother keeps showing up, and the daughter's like very upset.
There was a movie with Anthony Hopkins about that called The Human Stain with Nicole Kidman.
Yes.
Passing was a real thing. Passing is when black and Hispanic, sometimes mulatto, black and Hispanic people would pass as white so they could function in society.
And have, at the time, a better life.
Because of the racism.
Right, the racism.
And now there's so much anti-white racism that white people are passing as black and Hispanic and Arab and Indian and all kinds of things. And it's really a sad thing. And
it's wild.
And it's and I know what Elizabeth Warren did was a little different, okay? But Elizabeth Warren...
Or Hilaria Baldwin.
Well, she's different, Hilaria Baldwin. But Elizabeth Warren is a little different in that she wanted to get this... She got a professorship claiming to be Native American and everything. It's a little different. It was a long time ago. Alec Baldwin's wife, Hilaria, right, who says she's Spanish...
Yeah, she talks with an accent and everything.
This is
like from Boston.
This is what I think happened with Alec Baldwin's wife. Alec Baldwin used to be a big movie star, okay? And his wife, to seduce him, I mean, look how many kids she has. She's got this guy locked in.
She got like a litter.
She pretended to be Spanish so she was more exotic and attractive so she could bed the movie star. And she got roped into this lie, okay? And I think that's what happened with her. But this girl here, this is what millennials got to do. And it's because of the racism that white people are dealing with in American society today. And this story, I brought this story up again for two reasons. One, a lot of people thought I was kidding when I said that, and I don't want you to think I'm kidding. No, this is if you're a college graduate, white millennial, and you're out in the corporate world, or you're out in one of these liberal cities you're living in, or one of these liberal states, and you're white, your resume goes to the bottom of the stack.
You don't think it's just because they think white people are boring and that their life is boring? I mean, there are people that are pathological liars. You used to work with one, and they make up a whole life that never happened.
That was for the same reason.
To make themselves more interesting.
That was to
and maybe attaching themselves to an ethnicity makes them more interesting, they think.
No, what Kathy's talking about is very I don't want to say who we're talking about, but I don't want to give too many details because I don't want that. I don't want to get involved in that again.
Talking about.
They were trying to get him in the radio business, and they came up with all of this exotic resume and background.
Yeah.
So they were trying to build up their resume.
So how is that different than this? You don't think that's
what
she's doing?
There is racial discrimination going on against white people in the corporate world and in blue states.
Well, that's for
sure. So young white people in these liberal areas and in the corporate world are passing as minorities so they can get hired.
Let me ask you, what kind of a mother would would out her daughter like that and humiliate her.
Not a good one.
I mean, if, our daughter is biracial, and a lot of people think Emily's Hispanic. She's 25% Spanish. So she looks that, she's got some, black in her, white, so she's mixed. So she can't pass as white, but she could definitely pass as Hispanic, whatever. But if Emily was going around passing as Spanish or Brazilian, which a lot of people think she is, and she does not do this, but say she was denying her whiteness completely or her blackness or whatever, I might talk to her about it and be like, what are you thinking? What's this about? But I wouldn't go on and publicly expose her and humiliate her and get her fired from her job. I don't understand why her mother did that. Maybe she thinks she's helping.
Our daughter is biracial, and in American society, this may be true elsewhere, but we're Americans in American society. In America, if you're biracial, you're perceived black. And I tell our daughter, I always have told her this, whenever she's filling out a form and they ask for race, check off black. In fact, I started...
So you tell her to deny her whiteness and her Spanishness.
Well, no, I started telling her this when she was in high school and she was she was doing testing. She was doing prep for her SATs.
Yeah, and they always ask.
And we sent her to one of these places where they do test prep for SATs. And I told her, I said, when you go and take that SAT, when you apply for college, always check black. And this is when she was 17. She was in high school still. She said, why? And I told her, I said, if you're black, you get put to the front of the line. If you put down something else, you go down, down, down. I said, white guy like me, I'm at the bottom. And she said something that was so sad to me. She says, I thought white people had more opportunities than minorities. I said, no, it's the opposite. Blacks have more opportunities than white people. So always check black on any form you fill out for anything. If it's a home loan, a car loan, a college application, if there's a form you're filling out and it asks for race or ethnicity, always check black.
Well, she can't pass as white anyway. She doesn't.
No, she's black.
She doesn't look white at all, but she's definitely lighter skinned. And so sometimes on applications,
she's like mulatto.
Yeah, sometimes on application, of course, they don't use that word anymore. They won't have other or biracial. They'll just have black, white, Hispanic. And she would say to me, I don't know which to check if there's no option for other.
Black.
And I would say, well, I would check black just because you don't look white and, you're half black. And she'd say, oh, I said, you check what you want, but that's just my opinion. And I don't
tell her to check which. I tell her to check
black.
But
I said, it's up to you because she's only a quarter white, a quarter Spanish, and half black. So that's her predominant ethnicity. So that's the advice I would give her if there was no other option. But if they have biracial or other, sometimes she'll check that. I don't know. I haven't really talked about it with her, but in high school, I do remember you said on college applications put black.
Absolutely.
She is 50% black, so. And a quarter white and a quarter Spanish, like I said. So that's her predominant ethnicity. But, I don't think ethnicity should even be asked on these applications. I think it's ridiculous that they ask your ethnicity. Now, a medical application is different because certain ethnicities have certain diseases that are predominant with them. That's true. But, if you're Asian, you might be more likely to get something, or Caucasian.
Not really.
But on a college application or even a job application, it is totally irrelevant what your race is. And I don't know how these colleges but it's a money thing. They get a certain amount of money for, like I knew a guy that went to FAMU, which is a black college. It's right near FSU. And I said, why do you go here?
He was white.
He was white. He said, because I have a full scholarship because they have a quota for white people.
That's right.
And they get paid. And he said, I said, do you have really good grades? He says, no. He said, but they need white people. They have a quota. So I got a full ride. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So that's how it is at a predominantly white school, I guess. But I don't think it should be a factor at all. I think it should be academics only. It's ridiculous.
It's tough being white in America today.
So
there's a lot of discrimination that goes on. You guys don't think it does, and you think I'm kidding. I'm not.
But it goes both ways, and I just think this thing of having a race on a college application is stupid. I just think it's wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
It's unnecessary. It has nothing to do with your intelligence.
Yeah.
They use it Well, Harvard has had they were upset because they started turning away Asians.
Yeah, they thought there were too many Asians.
Too many Asians.
Too many Asians
at Harvard. Can you imagine? And so they they're using that information on your college application to discriminate.
That's right.
Against people. And I'm sorry if they're better at math than you, or they have tiger moms that force them to study and have no social life.
I don't know.
But whatever. I think it should just be based on grades and academics. But a lot of people feel that certain races have certain advantages. Mm-hmm. Isn't that stereotyping that Asians are better at certain things, so they have a leg up on this? And I don't
know. But I do know this.
Yeah.
We're out of time for today. So listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in advertising, if you have a business or a service or a product or something that you would like to advertise on the program, send us an email. Go to my website, briancraigshow.com, and you can send an email there. And also if you have a link, send a link to what it is you would like to advertise, and we'll get back to you. All right? And that'd be greatly appreciated. briancraigshow.com, and you can email us right there. All right, everyone, we will talk to you next time.